7:30, you know what that means? It is early kickoff. Right, let's see if we can get you going this bank holiday Monday.
Yeah, between now and 8 o'clock, we'll be discussing the big talking points, and there are a lot of them from the weekend in the world of football, including all of this.
Chelsea's remarkable transformation under Thomas Tuchel got the dream finale. We'll ask whether it was a tactical masterclass from the German.
Oh, we don't say this too often. In the other dugout, did Pep Guardiola get it wrong?
Well, to discuss all of that and plenty more, we're joined by the Tottenham goalkeeper Becky Spencer and broadcaster and soothsayer Ade Oladipo, the only man who predicted Ben Godfrey would be in the England squad. Warning to you both, Ade, you are an absolute legend, so let's start with you. Champions League final then. Tuchel, was that a tactical masterclass?
Yeah. It got certain things right. There's no doubt about it. I remember listening to Thomas Tuchel, though, and he did say it's only tactical when all the players are willing to run through brick walls for him. Everyone's willing to give 100%. There were a couple of opportunities as well for Man City. Let's not deny those. Sterling had a great opportunity when Ederson sent a long ball to him, and Reece James got to do that. Got back to block that. Rudiger put in a fantastic challenge on Phil Foden as well when he looked like he was going to score. So, look, it's tactical, but there's also good defending and hard work in there as well. I feel it's more the mistakes that Pep Guardiola made as opposed to what tactically Thomas Tuchel got it right. But look, tactically, Thomas Tuchel won that battle.
Becky, come a bit closer to the screen. We can't see your face. Come a bit closer. That's it. There you go. Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Christensen, all discarded by Frank Lampard. Tuchel brought them back. Does that just show how important it is to have a manager with experience?
Yeah, and also a manager that instills a lot of confidence in you as well. I feel like when you've got a manager that probably didn't instill the confidence and, didn't play them, it just shows you can go off form so easily. But for me, Christensen came on and he was excellent. It's a big game to come on in, and he came on very early in the game. And I thought he was excellent in the game. He made some vital tackles. Rudiger was excellent as well. They defended really, really well as a unit. And, it's not easy when you play in that formation.
Becky, it wasn't that long ago. You look at Cesar Azpilicueta, the captain. He was being criticised, wasn't he, in that League Cup final, and the whole thing that emerged with the goalkeepers, and he was criticised for maybe his role in that, not being vocal enough. But here he is lifting the European Cup for Chelsea. He's won everything with Chelsea. Is he now in the same category as the Chelsea legends, the likes of John Terry?
Yeah, I think he's a fan's favourite as well. I think the fans love Azpilicueta. I feel as though he's got a lot of experience and he drives the team forward, and you can see that in the game the other day. He went down injured and he got straight back up. There was no way he was going to go off in a game like that. And I think with Mendy coming in as well also, it's been a big lift for the Chelsea defence. Obviously, I think he's kept something like 8 clean sheets in the Champions League out of 11, and them kind of stats are incredible.
How good is he, Becky? You're a keeper, so you should know.
Yeah, I think he's great. And since he's been in goal for Chelsea, I think it's just instilled that bit more resilience into their back line. They've got a lot more confidence, and the playing out has been so much better. They can use him as like an extra outfield player, which is something that a lot of these goalkeepers have almost failed in the past. And I think he brings that confidence into that game.
Ade, what do you think? Is the goalkeeper great, or is it the defenders in front of him that are making him so good?
It's a bit of both, Mike, if I'm honest with you. I think Mendy's a fantastic goalkeeper. And like what Becky said there, he's come and he brings confidence to the back line, something that Kepa possibly didn't have. I spoke to David James about Mendy yesterday, and I was a bit still, I had question marks over Mendy, but David James was like, no, he's absolutely fantastic. He's great with his feet as well. You look at Chelsea's goal, and it was him that started that move, pinged the boss out to midfield and got the ball rolling. He's very, very vocal as well. He screams, he shouts, and he's made some fantastic saves. He even made a fantastic save from Benzema just to get them to the Champions League final, a save that just tipped it by the post. So look, he's bringing assurance to the back line, and that's what Kepa didn't do. That's what a lot of Premier League goalkeepers don't do. He's commanding. He's around 6'5", 6'6". He's got a really big frame about him as well. He's young, energetic. Fantastic signing for Chelsea. A lot of the signings have been focused on the forward line, but I think he's been as important as a Timo Werner or even a Silva that got taken off yesterday in the final because of an injury. He's been really, really important in this new Chelsea team that I think is going to go on and do really good things next season as well.
Adi, what about some defenders? Let's talk about defenders. Reece James, Kyle Walker, their performances. Does that mean A summer off for Trent Alexander-Arnold, perhaps, after what they did in the final?
I see Mike's got a little wry smile there.
I'm listening.
I really hope not. Like, I thought they were already in when it was 23 players. I thought Reece James, Kyle Walker and Trippier were already in the squad. I think the extra 3 places mean Trent, like Ben Godfrey, and maybe one more make it. I just don't know if you do damage to Trent mentally by dropping him with a year out from the World Cup as well. Let's not forget the World Cup's next year. And I think it's important to have Trent in that team just to be around it. Even if he doesn't come on, I think just to be in and around it, I think you damage the young kid if you don't take him. And I just think he's good enough. I think we know what Trent brings. I think we know what Reece James brings. Nothing surprised me about Reece James' performance yesterday, and it wouldn't have surprised Gareth Southgate either. So I think they bring something different to the table. And I think all 4 go, which I know sounds a bit ridiculous, but I think all 4 go just because I think Kyle Walker is probably going to go as a right centre-back now as opposed to a right back in the squad.
What about you, Becky? Would you take 4 right backs to the European Championship?
I'm not sure. I feel as though it'd be maybe a waste of space. I say why not just bring another centre half if there's one good enough to go. But for me, I think Reece James has to go. I feel like it's a no-brainer. I feel like he'll be the starting right back. I think he brings both defensive and attacking qualities. Trent brings a lot of attacking qualities, but defensively, I think he's been a little bit suspect this year. So for me, I think Reece James will definitely be the starter, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I think Trent's frailties at right back get highlighted a lot. I think he's almost become one of those players now when he does make a mistake, we seem to talk about it a lot as opposed to when any other player makes a mistake now, just because of those glaring errors in the past. I don't think he's been as bad as a lot of people say. And I agree with Becky. Look, defensively, the others are better, no doubt about it. But I think he brings a lot more going forward than they do. And there are some games when I do think England are going to be on the front foot and you might want a Trent as opposed to a defensive-minded one like a Trippier or a Reece James. Look, it's going to be tough. I know we all can't wait. I think he squeaks and sneaks his way in to the 26, but it's going to be tight.
Let's talk about N'Golo Kante then, moving on. Kante for the Ballon d'Or, let's discuss that. What do we think?
I'm all for it. I don't know about you, Addy, but I'm all for it. I think he's a brilliant player and he brings so much energy to the Chelsea team, and I think he come under a bit of criticism from the fans recently, and I saw some tweets recently saying, sell him, we don't want him anymore, and I'm thinking, how can you get rid of a player like Kante? He's like instrumental to how they've been playing recently.
Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic. And I remember some of those social media posts as well from people saying maybe we should sell Kante and upgrade and find someone else. And, he doesn't do a step over. He doesn't bend one into the top corner. He does everything else you can do. Very much in the Makelele mold from years ago where you maybe don't appreciate a player like that until they're gone. Ballon d'Or chat, look, why not, right? He might be unfancied, but I think he does absolutely everything. And he was man of the match yesterday. He was man of the match because, again, because he was so good and also because Pep got it so wrong. I'd love to have seen that Fernandinho battle with Kante in the centre of the park, but I think Kante is phenomenal, and I think he's only getting better. Doesn't seem to have slowed down. I remember a couple of years ago, Chelsea tried to play him on the right wing. No, play him in the centre of the midfield, and this guy will dominate. And I think he's shown that in the last couple of games with Chelsea. I think he's fantastic. Why not Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, he is fantastic. Timo Werner's not going to get the Ballon d'Or anytime soon. Chelsea been linked with Haaland. They've been linked with Lukaku. Becky, do you think Werner's on borrowed time?
Obviously it's his first season in the Premier League, and it's one of those things. Do you let a player, can give him a bit more time? I mean, he's missed some glaring chances. He hasn't performed, and I think that'll be playing on his mind too. It's something. It's really difficult for a player. You've moved to a different league, different country. You're playing different style of football. I think for him, maybe give him another year, another season to kind of bed himself in a little bit more and see if he can hit some kind of form.
Addy, can I flip this around, actually? Because Timo Werner, we talk a lot about... I did an interview with Thomas Tuchel a couple of weeks ago. He said Werner can be a 20 or 30 goal-a-season striker, and, whether that was a way to try and talk him up, build his confidence. But should we appreciate what he does for the team outside of the goal-scoring?
Absolutely, and that's what I was just about to touch on. I feel like you're watching the game and he does so much off the ball running. I mean, you ask Ruben Dias and John Stones how much they had to work to kind of keep the eye on Timo Werner. He does so much more than score goals for Chelsea, and that's why he starts. That's why Giroud doesn't start, and that's why Tammy Abraham's not getting any minutes as well under Thomas Tuchel. He falls very much in the Firmino mold where on the outside looking in, if you just look at the stat sheet and it says goals and assists, it will be empty. But watch what he does for 90 minutes, the running he does. He leaves that pitch with nothing left in the tank. And I feel like if Chelsea are going to try and go for a Lukaku or anyone else that's mentioned, they might not do the same kind of work that he does. I think they need to maybe ask for a bit more goals from the likes of Kai Havertz and Pulisic when he comes on and spread it across the three rather than focusing on one guy to get them 30 or 40 goals. I don't think it works. I think Timo Werner works for Chelsea. He probably wouldn't work for anyone else, but the way in which Chelsea play, that off-the-ball running, the defensive work he does going backwards as well, I think he deserves a bit more plaudits than I think people give him.
OK, let's talk Man City then, Becky. Did Pep get it wrong, or did he go for it?
Well, for me, I think he's tried to do a bit of both. He's tried to go for it, but in the same process, he's got it wrong. So for me, I think you go for the same kind of lineup that you've been going for the whole season. I think you play Fernandinho. You need to put Foden out on the left. Obviously, I really like Sterling as a player, and I think he brings so many qualities to Man City. But maybe to bring him on would have been the best kind of solution in that game. I feel like Foden was ineffective. He tried his best in that position, but, the false nine, I just didn't think it worked. And there was no focal point for them going forward.
It's interesting you mentioned the false nine, Addy. Does the fact that it didn't work at the weekend mean that City will be even more keen to get a striker?
Not sure, Mike. Let's not forget this is a team that's won a double. I sometimes feel like, we're going to look back and think, wait a minute, this team won the league going away and won the League Cup comfortably as well. So they've had a good season. I'm like Becky. I just feel like he got it wrong. I think Foden further up the field on that left is good, and Mahrez didn't have the best game either. And Kevin De Bruyne went off injured. I mean, those things all went against him. I still think they are going to need a striker. He clearly doesn't favour Jesus. I'm not quite sure. Jesus, every time I see him, looks quite good. And he doesn't seem to want Aguero. Obviously, we know Aguero's leaving, but just in terms of giving Aguero a few more minutes on the pitch, I'm like, well, you need to score, and you've got a guy on the bench that can put the ball in the back of the net comfortably, and you're only giving him 15 or so minutes to try and get one. So, look, I think his stubbornness got the best of him, and I think there are opportunities there, and he made mistakes. And we've seen this before with Pep. He overthinks things. I mean, all season, he's played Foden, or at least the back half of the season, he's played Foden further up front, and for some reason he tried to drop him in and tried to put all these chess pieces on one board. Didn't work. And I think he'll be having headaches and nightmares about that.
I was also going to say, I mean, with De Bruyne going off as well, it didn't help. He went off so early in the game, and for Man City to kind of tick and for them to find their rhythm, you need a player like that on there. So once he went off, I kind of think, they struggled and they were hoiking a lot of balls into the box, and Chelsea was so dominant in the air that night that it was, they were never going to score from these balls being crossed in. It just didn't seem like the right, plan of action to go for.
Do you think there was an element of, Chelsea have played in the FA Cup final recently. They've lost that game. They've got that sort of out of their systems. Manchester City playing in their first Champions League final. Did that have any impact psychologically? Did the FA Cup final defeat actually help Chelsea on the night?
Maybe, but I feel like we've got to understand this is a fantastic Chelsea squad. I mean, Man City have the best squad in the Premier League. Chelsea, for my eyes, definitely have the second best squad. It's deep as well. You look on the bench, it's fantastic players all over the field. This was always going to be a close game between the two. Thomas Tuchel's a fantastic manager. Got to the final last year with Paris Saint-Germain, has done good things with Borussia Dortmund, before that with Mainz. This isn't a Villarreal, Manchester United kind of game here. This is two top teams going against each other, and it was going to be fine margins. Chelsea probably maybe entered it a bit hungrier because of the FA Cup final defeat. But, I mean, it's two great teams, and it's going to be small mistakes. And in the end, I think Pep made small mistakes, and Thomas Tuchel kept it simple. And I think simplicity in the end won it through.
You know how I love to talk City, but we've run out of time on that topic, so we're going to take a break. We're going to talk about a side that's going to get to go to the Etihad and to get to go to Stamford Bridge next season. Brentford. We'll look at what they will bring. That's next on Early Kickoff. See you in a moment.
We're all in. We're all in to kick it out.
Welcome back to Early Kickoff. Addy and Becky still with us this morning, and let's talk Brentford, because if there is a team that deserves Premier League promotion, it is Brentford. They have tried often enough, they have been in playoff finals, they have suffered disappointment, and they are finally Premier League.
Going to ask anyone a question, Paul, or Ade? You can answer it.
Yeah, no, look, I think Brentford have done so well under Thomas Frank. I mean, you're right, suffered heartache last season, losing to Fulham. They've been here before, right? I mean, it was a hoodoo, the playoffs for them. I mean, 9 times they've tried, 9 times they've failed. I hate using that word fail, but it's true. They've not got through the playoffs. This time it worked well. I mean, look, Brentford, I've always had this fantastic system of finding young, talented players and selling them on for ridiculous money. I think this now stops. I think now they're going to have to keep hold of their talent. Ivan Toney, obviously being one of the main ones, not just him though. Josh Da Silva, come from Arsenal a couple of years ago, another fantastic player. Will they stop that model though of finding these young players and send them on for profit? Will they now try and keep them? That's the questions that I guess Brentford fans want to know going into the Premier League. Obviously a new fantastic stadium as well, which will host Premier League football for the first time. So look, I'm really excited to see what Brentford can do. I just hope, as someone that likes Brentford, I hope that they can keep hold of their players, because for the last 3 or 4 years we've seen it with the likes of Ollie Watkins going and Ben Rama going and Mope going, that they've been unable to keep hold of that talent. Will they do it this time in the Premier League? I hope so, and I think they can.
Ivan Toney comes to mind. Can they keep him?
I think it's important. I think they have to. It's important that they, like you said, they've got to take their best players up with them. There's no room for kind of letting players go at this point. They have to keep all their best players on board with them, and with their style of play as well. They're a very attacking team. They take risks, and it's something exciting for the Premier League for next season.
We spoke to the chairman yesterday, and he was asked if he'd take 17th right now. He said, absolutely no chance. We're going to do what Leeds did. Is he right to be bullish?
Yeah, I think you have to be. I think you have to be bold when you're going into the Premier League. You've got to, have no fear when it comes to this. We all want to see nice attacking style of play, and we want to see exciting football. So I think Brentford are definitely the right team to come up, and I really can't wait to see what they're going to produce next year.
Ade, isn't this a breath of fresh air that teams are coming up and they're actually giving it a go, as opposed to thinking, well, we'll see if we can stay up, but if we go down, we'll come back stronger?
Yeah, look, I like the idea of him saying that in front of camera. Behind the scenes, they'll take 17th, trust me. The Premier League's a completely different beast. I mean, for every single Leeds, there's also a Norwich and a West Brom, and that's no disrespect to those clubs, but we have seen them go up and down, up and down. I mean, the Premier League, I think that gap between the Premier League and the Championship's growing wider all the time. Going back to the question about Ivan Toney and will they be able to keep him, it's going to be difficult. I mean, look, I hope he gives them a season, I really do, just because they took a gamble on him as well. But, I mean, every club really is a selling club, and it's all about the price. And if someone comes in with 30, 35 million for Ivan Toney, they probably are going to sell, just because they know where and how to find these players. But look, I like Brentford. I like the way in which they play. They are very much in that Leeds model of attack, 100 miles per hour, so much effort. And it is refreshing to see, rather than teams go to the big clubs and sit back in a 10 and park the bus, so to speak. So I'm excited for them, but trust me, 17th gets offered, 17th gets taken.
Becky, how important is it that we've got a new face in the Premier League as well, and it's not just the same old teams going up and down?
Yeah, it's great for the league. I mean, as you can imagine, the Premier League's a long season, so it's something new. It's a different team. It's, they've got to face different challenges, and I think that's the good thing about the Premier League. Obviously, before, teams were going up, coming down, going up, and it's the same thing. It's the same cycle, and I think for us, it's going to be refreshing for fans as well, and the players likewise.
All right, let's talk.
That's important. Sorry, Mike. I think that's important. Look, Bournemouth were in the playoffs as well, and Jonathan Woodgate's done a fantastic job since taking over. But I think it would have looked bad if the 3 teams that got relegated were the 3 teams that got promoted. I mean, a lot of the conversation would have been about parachute money and how that's distributed. So I think it is fantastic that Brentford are there. It's 50 clubs now in the Premier League since its inception, and I think that's good as well. We want to see new faces. We want to see other clubs give a go. I'm upset that Barnsley didn't make it. Would have been nice to see Barnsley in their journey in the Premier League as well. But look, Brentford have been sort of floating around sort of the lower ebbs of the EFL for nearly 74 years. So I think it's good to finally see a new club up there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk Champions League again, but let's talk its impact on England for the European Championship. Do you think having all those players in the final will help, or will it hinder England in this championship? Becky?
That's a really good question. I think it will help them. I think having so many players, it's a mixture of, Chelsea and, Man United players and Man City players. I think it will help them. I think coming up against world-class opposition in the Champions League in Europe, I think it's only going to be good for the England team. I don't see how it hinders it. You just got to make sure that now the England team gels as one, really, and unites and is able to play together.
Addy, does Gareth Southgate have a job on his hand to lift City's players?
No, I don't think so. Again, look, this is a team that won a double. This isn't a team that's gone through the season without winning absolutely anything. I think he'll do okay. I don't think this is like the England sides of sort of 15, 20 years ago where there are little cliques within the sides. I think everyone gets on and everyone's going to be okay. I think my thing is the amount of games these guys have played, but a lot of those players in the England squad that played for Chelsea and Man City are quite young as well, so I think they've got the legs for it. I think they just need a week's rest. I don't expect any of them to play in England's friendlies they've got coming up, and then they'll be good to go. I mean, these are young players, winners as well. They're good, and I think it bodes well for England to have those type of players within the squad. I think 6 or maybe 5 or 6 that started will probably start for England, and I think that's testament to how far they've come with their own clubs.
Becky, you said the word gel earlier. We all remember Joe Gomez and Raheem Sterling not getting on too well after those sides had met. Any chance that could happen with City and Chelsea players, do you think?
No. I mean, once that game's finished on Saturday, that's it. I think they put it behind them and they move forward. I think, as a nation as well, we need them to do that. It's, we haven't won anything in so long now. We need to, gel together, and hopefully that's what the players do. I think, like Addy said, the players could be tired, and I think even not just, physically tired and body tired, mentally, it's been a very long year, for everyone. So I think for the players, it's so important that they go off now and take that mental rest from each other, as teammates, and so they can be fresh going back into the Euros.
Yep. And England to win it at a Kante, that's what we all think, even Paul Gilmore. We've run out of time, as always, on Early Kickoff. Brilliant job, you two. Thank you very much. Early Kickoff back tomorrow when we'll discuss all things football. And coming up on Good Morning Sports Fans next, we have a whole plethora of news, including the UEFA president, who's had some really strong words. That's it from Early Kickoff. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.
Okay.